Hello, friends. How are you today? I wanted to talk about prayer as directed energy today. This is a human skill set. Most of the discussion about directed energy has to do with technologically machine-based lasers and that sort of thing. As human beings, as living human beings, soul-connected children of the Creator, we have access to all sorts of technology based on our own human energy systems. And I'm going to explain this to you today because we are in a tough time. We've had our people attacked, and I know that people are praying. And I wanted to offer a way to upgrade how you perceive what you're doing. And if you do energy work, it's essentially very much like prayer. Okay, I consider them at times interchangeable. And I want to show you how something works here, because it'll really expand what you're doing. And some of the people watching this may already use some of these techniques, because so many of us are just waking up and knowing how to do these things. But I want to explain the details to you in a short, concise way. And then if you have questions, you can ask them, and we can talk about it more if you want to. So when you pray, when you set intentions, you are directing energy. You're directing the energy of your human system. When you pray to God, the Most High, the Creator of the universe, when you commune with the divine, when you commune with your own soul, when you meditate and achieve a state of centeredness, when doing energy work, you understand how to create a state of 0 point in your human energy field, which would put you at a fifth dimensional or higher dimensional state of being in your human energy field. All of these things are like saying the same thing. Okay, just making it very simple here. So I want to use a language that everyone can relate to. So that's about 4 categories, 4 different ways of saying this that covers how most of us think about these things, or how most of us do the work. When you are praying, meditating, doing energy work, and you are choosing to align with divinity, with source level energy, with literally the energy of God, the Creator, the source of all that is, and you choose to align your will with this will of divinity through you, this is when prayer and energy work becomes very amped up and very powerful. You know, studies have been done that show that praying for someone significantly improves their chances of healing. So I want to show you how this energy works, how you can direct the energy in a way that expands your experience. So let's say you are here, okay, in this circle with the star in it. The star that is our sun represents you. You would be right here in the center, okay? But I'm going to take this off so that we can look at the energy. So this is your soul light shining from within your human body and pouring out its energy into your human body, existing as a life force within you, and then emanating into your human energy field, which is going to be the round circle here. So this is an individual. You want to pray for someone halfway around the world. And yeah, I'm talking about, like, let's pray for the soldiers, our soldiers in Afghanistan, for example. let's pray for Americans trapped in Afghanistan. All right, so you're praying for this person. The first thing that you do, if you're going to do this process, okay, using prayer as a directed energy, you want to the best of your ability, be in a place where you are centered and God connected with your soul. If you know how to disconnect energetic cording, if you know how to clear your energy field, these things help. But get into that space where you feel connected. If you can't get into that space because you're triggered in the moment, or because you're very emotional or very invested in what's going on, then just intend that even though you can't feel that in your body, that the prayer, the energy work comes from a place of pure connection with God, the Most High, the Creator of the universe, of pure connection with your soul, of pure connection with the divine light, the Most High, the source of all that is. So that's the first thing. Take care of you, clear your field if you can, and intend that you are working one-to-one, that the prayer, the energy is directed by divine will. So you choose alignment with the divine will. How do you do that? By declaring it. I declare that I choose that this work I'm doing, that this prayer I'm saying is in alignment with divine will. The other thing is to align your prayer, align your energy work with the highest good. Why do we do this? Because the human being does not know what is in the highest good for an individual, for a country, for our soldiers, for our people in any moment. But the divine knows, the Creator knows each of his children, and exactly in every moment has a relationship with them. So one of the ways to amp up your ability here is to give it to God. It's interesting, isn't it? Because you're praying for someone, yet you're giving the outcome to God. So what you're actually doing then is you're sending the prayer, you're sending the energy. It's a pure, unconditional love for the person you're praying for. And that pure love, aligned with divinity, with their highest good, with divine will for them, places the energy sort of at their door to their own energy field, so that they have accessibility to it in any moment. It also allows you to, in effect, role model your energy field or God's light to them, so that it can strengthen them. And the way that that happens isn't by you doing something to them. It's by the person you're praying for perceiving that light, perceiving that strength in their own field, and then choosing in alignment with their own free will choices. And I usually do this through their higher self. I ask the higher self, have command over this, or God, or, their guardian angels, Archangel Michael, so that their free will is not impinged. So how does that role model, how does your energetic field role model that for a person halfway across the world? It's because we are using higher physics here, and we're actually using quantum physics. So it doesn't matter if I'm next to someone or halfway around the world. If I make the conscious choice, I can choose to model the energy and make it available to that person or persons. And I don't use my human power to do this. I ask the divine. I imagine it, and I ask the divine to do this. Now, when I do this, it's kind of wordless at this point, but I used to go through a very long, like a discussion with God, with the divine, with my own soul, okay, with the angels of the highest light, to learn how to do this and then to get it done. Now, I heard someone talking the other day, and they were doing physical therapy with a client, and what they were saying was that they breathed with the client, okay? And they were modeling the energy, their breath, and imagining the movement in their own energy field, and that person they were working with would pick up on it. Now, this person has been a personal trainer for years and years, okay? And so this is a technique they use. Well, in that case, they're standing in front of or with the other person. But because of quantum physics, the technique works even if the person is halfway across the world. And why is that? Quantum physics experiments done earlier in the 1900s showed that when cells were experimented upon, and parts of the cells were either experimented upon in Georgia, and parts of those cells were moved to California, okay, the cells reacted the same to the experiment. Location didn't matter. Isn't that interesting? So this is the technique that we're using. Now let me show you something. Here is the person praying. Here is the person in the action far away. Essentially what you are doing, and I'm using Archangel Michael to represent divine will here, since he is the Archangel of divine will. I'm going to illustrate how this works in a way that's understandable. I ask divine will. I ask Archangel Michael in this case. When you're praying, if you ask God, it's the same way, because you're asking for the will of God to achieve something. I'm using these images to communicate the idea. All right, so I ask Archangel Michael, I ask divine will to protect a person halfway around the world in alignment with their highest good. So the divine isn't limited to only one space. The divine is omnipresent. That means that Archangel Michael is with me as I'm praying, and with the person I'm praying for as I'm doing the prayer. 1 to 1. Distance doesn't matter. As soon as I've communicated with this Archangel Michael knows and can work with the higher self of this person to achieve their highest outcomes. This is how we lift up the light, first in ourselves, and then intending for others around us in a time of great intensity like we're in right now. Isn't this powerful and amazing? Okay, now modeling the energy field works the same way. If I pray here and I rely on God, I rest upon the divine, and I rest upon the divine through the light coming through my own soul. I sit knowing that this love that I feel of God for me, the divine for me, the Most High for me, I understand this, and then from within this place, I imagine the person I'm praying for. In doing so, I model my own energy field for this person, whether or not they know me, whether or not I'm near or far. Now, if you know someone, that obviously gives you a closer connection. But we don't have to know people to pray for them. What assists me in modeling the energy field is the divine light within me. Without aligning with the light and divine will, this doesn't have the same effect, okay? And that's why when we pray and we ask God for things, this is actually what's happening. This is a more elegant way to understand it. And in understanding it, we can then work more closely with the light, work more closely with God. When I model my field and I wish for this loving connection with God the Most High to be present for this person, why do I wish that? Because the light within strengthens us. And if someone halfway across the world, in this case, is going through an incredibly tough time, then the light within them will strengthen them. But you know how it is when you're in fear, when you're in anger, right? When you're in an intense situation, it can be hard to kind of get it together to think about that. Yet God can appear for a person in these circumstances. And very often, these are some of the most intense spiritual experiences that a person can have. Now, how does the person praying here, modeling their energy, how does that get to this person? The same way the prayer got there. Because modeling my energy here, I work with the divine light, which is omnipresent. If I model it here and I intend for this person to have access to that modeling, the divine light within this human being knows the moment I make the request. Now, here's the other key. It's not up to me to determine anything for that person, and this is hard to understand. And it can be hard to understand because it's not what we want sometimes. I want that person to live. I want that person to not be in harm's way, and so on. Yet, I don't know what's between the person I'm praying for or the people I'm praying for, what's between them and God. What have they signed up for in this lifetime? Okay? Because they may have signed up to committing a heroic act that saves many people, but that injures them. They may have signed up to experience something horrific that wakes up people to what is going on. They may have signed up to surviving this situation and achieving victory, and this brings hope across the world. This brings hope to the people of our country. We just don't know what the details are. And the Creator gives each one of us free will choice. So when you ask to work with the higher, when you ask to do the role modeling, what I simply do is I understand that I'm asking that the energy and the intentions be sent to the higher self of the person, soul connected, source connected, God connected, Most High, the Creator of the universe connected, higher self. And so when I do that through my higher self, the source connected higher self automatically knows. And then what transpires is up to this person, their life path, and their choices, as it should be. It's between them and God. And that's why giving it to God, once you set the intentions, once you do the work, once you send the energy, and when you send the energy, you're not sending your human life force. You're sending the divine light of God the Most High. It's that big. You're sending the Christ light the Christ light, the light of Christ. And you don't have to be a Christian to do that, because the Christ light is the higher light. That's how I see it. This is how prayer as directed energy works. If a person attempts to use these concepts for misuse, the energy will come back on that person very rapidly. If you choose to do prayer and energy work this way, as you work with your spiritual guidance, you'll probably, make little adjustments to it that resonate with you, that work for you. So to take the components of what I'm saying and make the adjustments to it as you are guided. It takes integrity to do this work, but integrity in the moment. And what that integrity is a pure heart, a desire to work with God's light, to be of service this way. And to be of service this way brings incredible joy to the physical body and to our human selves. God bless each and every one.